So far, automakers have recalled 11 million vehicles in the U.S. alone. No brand is immune, even luxury vehicles are included. So, what does that mean for vehicle safety? Karina Huber has more on why this year may be a big year for recalls.
Mercedes-Benz is one of the world's most prestigious car brands, one you'd hardly associate with recalls. But just this week, the German automaker announced a North American recall of its S-Class model for problems with its rear lights. BMW also announced a recall this week that affects more than 150,000 vehicles in the U.S. But that's just a fraction of Toyota's April recall of 6.4 million vehicles worldwide and General Motors' global recall of 6.3 million vehicles in February.
We've seen some things following the General Motors recall, which was gigantic, where other manufacturers are putting out recalls, and they're maybe using the GM recall as a bit of cover.
Auto experts say the high number of recalls are due in part to a more complicated manufacturing process and software-related glitches. But they also attribute it to frayed nerves at car companies.
None of the solutions.
No car executive wants to risk an inquisition in the U.S. Congress, like GM's CEO Mary Barra did. The grilling came after the company failed to issue a recall, despite being aware of a dangerous problem at least 9 years earlier. The ignition switch problems have been linked to 13 deaths. Experts say Toyota's record $1.2 billion fine it had to pay the U.S. government after its 2009-2010 recall was also a game changer.
I really do think the Toyota situation was an incentive for manufacturers to try to get ahead of this. I think it's also an incentive for the regulators to try to get ahead of these problems. I think there were black eyes on both sides.
A higher number of recalls doesn't mean that vehicles are becoming less safe. Vehicles have never been safer. Manufacturers have been doing a very good job of designing vehicles to protect people better when there are crashes.
Rader says the vast majority of road accidents are caused by drivers, not faulty cars. But as GM showed us, defects can lead to deaths. And for that reason, recalls should be taken very seriously. Karina Huber, CCTV, New York.